Into here on the show today. It is a Wednesday. That means we have SmackDown to talk about, and not just any SmackDown, but it is SmackDown 1000. What did you think of the show? Got a lot of big things going on. We had qualifying matches for the World Cup tournament to determine the best in the world. We had Rey Mysterio's turn. We had the Evolution segment, which I just thought was awesome. We had so much fun stuff on the show last night. I really liked SmackDown 1000. Thought it was way better than Raw 25, which was just a long, boring show. But hey, whatever your thoughts, you can give us a call here today, 844-411-5411. Text messages, 425-780-7566. I don't know what's up with Mista and Triple H, but it does seem to me like that could be a WrestleMania match. I guess we'll have to find out. They certainly teased it like it was something big coming up. We've also got the Raw ratings from Monday night. The Raw ratings up 1% from last week, 2.39 million viewers. So in fact, I guess it's going to be neck and neck. We'll find out if SmackDown 1000 is able to beat the Raw show from Monday night. My gut feeling, we'll know tomorrow, my gut feeling is that it will not. But who knows? We shall see. San Francisco 49ers, Green Bay Packers, 11.89 million viewers. And the baseball playoff game with the Dodgers and the Brewers, 4.22 million viewers. There was also the season premiere of Arrow, which did 1.43 million viewers. We have updates on Kevin Owens and his knee surgery. We got Global Wars competitors. I got the blocks, the standings for the Mixed Match Challenge, which is going on forever. If I heard that this was going on until next year's TLC show, I'm not sure I'd be surprised. But we got the standings here. We got the lineup for the NWA 70th Anniversary Show. David Lagana is going to be joining us today to talk the NWA show, 10 pounds of gold, and more. It's going to be a fun time, so check it out after the break. Wrestling Observer Live. Back in the show, Brian Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. This tweet here that just came through from Rusev. He's talking about the Mixed Match Challenge. He's complaining here. He basically says, where is it here? If it's only Americans in the W World Cup, does it become the U.S. Open? You know how many text messages I've got about this? People complaining that there's only Americans in the Mixed Match Challenge. I've said this before. The non-Americans had their chance. Right? They had their chance, and they failed. That's it.
In storyline, yes.
Yeah, so if Rusev would have gone out there and beaten The Miz, then there would not be only Americans in the World Cup. But he went out there and he failed. Shinsuke Nakamura, he had his opportunity to beat the world. He went out there and failed. So, yeah. Now, in reality, I don't know why there's only Americans in the World Cup. Maybe the prince said, no foreigners on my show. I don't know. I have no idea. But yes, the World Cup to determine the best in the world is, in fact, all Americans. So there you go. What the hell does that even mean?
I don't know. Are there any Turkish Americans on the roster? The same way that they can exploit the Turkish situation, the same way they did the Iranian situation with the Saudis, as they did with the Davari brothers last time?
Well, I don't know, but I do know that these are your Americans in this tournament. John Cena, Kurt Angle, Jeff Hardy, who beat a Samoan, Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, who beat a Scottish fella, a Scot, Dolph Ziggler, The Miz, who beat a Bulgarian, and Rey Mysterio, who beat a Japanese. So there you go. That's why there's only Americans in the World Cup. Only the Americans won. What do you want me to do about it?
I don't know. Part of me is still amazed Jeff Hardy can travel internationally, but...
Well, I guess he can.
He can. Who am I to throw down on Jeff Hardy?
Listen, I loved the SmackDown 1000 show last night. And bizarrely, and I don't even know how, this happens every now and then. I don't think I fell asleep, but I was watching the show. It's weird. Like, I watched the show, and I saw Truth TV, which I couldn't figure out why Truth
This
TV...
isn't Brian Alvarez, everybody. This is somebody's dad right now.
Truth TV, they, were canceled, but now they're just back. So that wasn't really explained.
With her looking like, I don't know, Ariana Grande? I don't know, what did Mella look like?
Carmella.
I guess she did. She was shiny as hell, wasn't she?
Then I saw the Usos beat AJ and Daniel Bryan. That was really good. And then for some reason, like, next on my show was Edge coming out. And I didn't find out until I read Rusev's tweet that somehow I didn't even see that entire match. So, I don't know how I missed it, but I didn't see it. But really, Miz won when Aiden distracted Rusev. So if Rusev's upset, he needs to complain to Aiden English, not Twitter.
Well,
and the Bar won the tag team titles. I thought that was pretty good. And then Rey Mysterio looked absolutely awesome.
Who cares?
He beat Shinsuke Nakamura. What do you mean, who cares? He was great.
Get to the main event.
I already talked about Edge. It was a good segment.
No. You should talk more about it.
All right, well, what do you want to say, Mike? Go for it.
I don't know. It was fantastic. Why doesn't
That's it?
Mr. Armstrong get on the phone with me and tell me the story that none of us understood that they were telling? Because what it seems like is the fans are still telling a story that they don't really want you to tell, which is Becky Lynch is the most popular thing on SmackDown, and it's not going to get any better for them.
Well, you're wrong. The most popular person on SmackDown was, in first place, Vince McMahon.
Well, that's...
Of course, everybody who's so upset about this Becky Lynch thing, they all bowed to him when he came out.
And danced.
Because, you know, it's not Vince's fault, anything you see on these shows.
Of course.
It's got to be Road Dogg and some other geek.
I like that song, Let's Cheer.
So then, the other most popular person on the show was Big Dave Batista.
Well, they're in Washington, D.C.
Dude, he was the best. That Evolution segment was so good.
That was really good.
Ric Flair's out of his mind. I saw some guy on Twitter goes, he's like your embarrassing uncle at the family. Yeah, he was. He's Ric Flair.
Well, yeah. It's Ric Flair.
Randy Orton stayed a heel. Triple H was Uncle Paul.
Yeah.
And then Batista just killed it in this promo. Talking about Randy Orton and how he knew the moment he looked at him that he was going to be a huge star. And what can he say about Ric Flair except keep that thing in your pants? And Triple H, he's done everything in this business. He's been a multi-time, 14-time world champion. He's an executive. He's one of the biggest stars, biggest Hall of Famers ever. He's done everything except beat me. And the place went nuts for that. And Hunter's reaction was unbelievable. Dave's reaction was unbelievable. They just stared at each other for a long time, and they smiled and hugged, but you could tell there was tension there. I thought that segment. You know what? Here's the thing about SmackDown 1000 and a lot of these shows. Okay, I don't even know what to make of this. I think it's just that they've been off TV for so long. But all of the best stuff is from the guys that are coming back.
The old guys?
Batista's promo was the best thing on this show. Rey Mysterio, who thankfully is back now, came out and it was so good in that match with Nakamura. And Edge is out there having to do the cutting edge, and he was so good on the mic in that Becky Lynch segment. It's like these old guys come back, and people are always like, oh man, I don't see these old guys come back, and I don't need to see them again. But they're so good. That's the problem.
No, the problem is actually today's people aren't as good.
I don't know if that's the problem.
That's the problem.
I don't know if that's the problem.
Dude, here's the thing. Edge and Batista were great 10 years ago, 15 years ago doing this stuff. At some point, again, this is not...
I don't know if Batista was this good. He was really good.
Well, yeah, there was at the end, by the end of his tenure, the guy that started is holding the box for what was it, Deacon Dave with Brother Devon.
He was Deacon Dave.
To becoming Kanye West, literally out and stomping around and the whole thing with the wheelchair. It was a completely different dude. He's on another level, and that last night immediately made me think, I want to see this for WrestleMania. I'd be completely happy seeing this for WrestleMania.
I think you will. And let me
I'd
say
be
this.
completely happy seeing him in the Rumble, even though I just don't think he'll do it because there's money to be made in Hollywood.
Let me say this, everyone. I've been writing a book. I don't know if you're aware.
I heard this.
100 Things WWE fans should know and do before they die. And I just the other day wrote the Batista entry for that book, which was actually before this even happened. So I
Batista is one of the things we should all do before we die?
Know or do, you numbskull.
Oh.
If you're a WWE fan, you need to know about Batista. I don't care when you started watching. So when I was done writing that, all I could think was, this man here, and I'm making a command decision here without Vinny. Dave Bautista is the newest entrant into the Hall of Awesome. Do you hear what I'm saying? This guy came up in Ohio Valley, and they gave him a gimmick, Leviathan. And he didn't like it because he felt they didn't teach him to be an all-around wrestler.
Plus, he had to walk out of the Ohio River. That's nasty.
It was awesome. They brought him up, and he was Deacon Batista under Reverend Devon. I mean, could you have, like, a worse debut?
There were a couple at that time.
So it sucked, but you know what? They put him into Evolution, and they did a 2-year build to him splitting away from Triple H. The storyline leading to him giving Triple H the thumbs down and powerbombing him through that table while he had to decide whether he was going to go to Raw or SmackDown to challenge for that title. And Hunter tried so hard to convince his buddy Dave to go to the other show. Finally, Batista finds out that Hunter tried to screw him by having somebody run him over with a car, and he gives Hunter the thumbs down, powerbomb through the table. That was at the time the most purchased WrestleMania of all time, with Triple H and Big Dave in the main event. And he won the title, and he went on to have a very good WWE main event career. And then at 40, I think it was 43 years old, after he'd left because he was sick of this place, 43 years old, he goes in there for an MMA fight. And it wasn't against a 0-0 guy or a 1-1 guy or whatever CM Punk did. It was against a guy that actually had 40 fights. And yeah, he had a losing record, but he had like 40 fights. Dave beat him. Comes back to WWE. The whole thing with Daniel Bryan occurred. He basically got screwed in his return. Then he goes on to make movies. He's a big-time movie star. Dave Bautista's awesome. Back in a moment. Wrestling Observer Live. Back in the show, Brian Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. We're going to head to the text messages here. David Lagana joining us in the next segment to talk the NWA 70th anniversary show, which is coming up. I want to mention very quickly, Kevin Owens undergoing surgery on both of his knees. No timetable has been released for his return. They had a 2-for-1 sale going on at the surgery store today, he tweeted. I didn't know he was tweeting anymore. I guess he's back. Written off television, an angle where Lashley turned heel. Yes. The babyface beat up the heel, and that was the babyface's heel turn. Just want to make that clear. So yeah, he'll be out for a long time, which sucks, but got to get things fixed when they break. That's the way things go. All right, text messages here. With his nothing promo last night, it is stupid to not expect anything else than Undertaker playing the hits and expecting nothing more than an entrance, his main spots, and rest in peace. Yes, that's what we're going to get from The Undertaker. It was made abundantly clear, and boy, did the people boo the words Crown Jewel last night. Which, by the way, somebody saying here, people are saying on wrestling Twitter that Crown Jewel has been moved out of Saudi Arabia, or it is canceled. Please set the record straight. I can only hope.
Bunch of idiots.
I can only hope that this stems from me saying that Crown Jewel is coming from an undisclosed location because they didn't mention where it was coming from. I can only hope that's where this started. I hope it catches fire because people don't listen. Crown Jewel is on. It's on.
You did see the thing about Austin Aries will not be at the Impact tapings because Brian Alvarez just reported that on Wrestling Observer Live a couple days ago, right?
Well, that actually was true.
Oh, I'm just saying.
Yeah, Crown Jewel is on, and it is emanating from Saudi Arabia.
I think, though, at the time it was that this one came out, it was, well, we'll see what happens, and you were already attributed to it. Like many of your other attributions that you get.
Yes. I found SmackDown to be a big letdown, this person said. I love Batista, but the rest of the show is EHH. I think the show would have been better if it was commercial-free. Well, it's not going to be. I know people were expecting there. Commercial-free? Kidding me?
Oh.
Correct me if I'm wrong, this person says. But not only is the World Cup to determine the best in the world, but not only is that all Americans, but the entire card so far has all Americans as well. Not one Canadian has been announced. I don't think you're going to see a Canadian in there.
How about that, huh?
Let's look at this card, okay? This is everybody on the card so far. Cena, Angle, Hardy, Orton, Seth, Dolph, Miz, Ray, all Americans.
Some of those people can't even get into Canada.
Roman, well, Lesnar actually lives in Canada, but he's an American.
Pretty passport is probably still American.
Braun Strowman, AJ, Daniel Bryan, Triple H, Shawn, Undertaker, and Kane. Every
Yeah.
single one of them an American. And no women. I don't know if you noticed that or not.
Oh, no, it's really,
There's
really.
no women on the World Cup show. That's kind of weird.
About that.
Well, this person actually points out no foreigners would mean no Americans. Either only Saudis or nobody. Well, I think you know what they're talking about. Also, you know, Batista isn't a big-time movie star. His name is third or fourth from the top. The top two are the stars. Listen, let's not argue semantics here. Okay? Batista is a way bigger movie star than, for example, The Miz. Okay?
Yeah.
He's a pretty big star. If you walked out, if you went to my jiu-jitsu class and asked the kids if they knew who Batista was, they'd say yes.
And do you know why they wouldn't say anything about wrestling? They'd say something about Guardians of the Galaxy.
They'd say, yeah, I know Blue Tista.
Plus, you know, you gotta understand, I'm old. I'm coming out of an era where Hulk Hogan was Santa with muscles. So anything that really kind of tops that, or the Sheik, and I like to hurt people, like, you know, everything is amplified a little bit when it comes to wrestlers in Hollywood.
Person here says, think about all the misses that WWE has had with their gimmicks. Batista, Austin, Cena, Triple H were all gimmicks to start. They were.
Yeah.
They were.
Yep.
They were. But you know what?
Well,
Thankfully, they were able to break through.
Well, that's when WWE will go, you know, you got to find the thing, and it's always the person that, in spite of them, makes it to a certain level that they will always point to and go, well, see, you got to go and grab that brass ring.
You know, it's funny. I mean, I could talk about this for like decades, but just very quickly, when that guy noted that, think about the big stars that started out with bad gimmicks and ended up overcoming. I mean, I think everybody knows the story, but John Cena was like, he was on the chopping block, and he was on a bus, and he was doing some freestyle rapping, and Stephanie McMahon heard it and was like, man, let's do something with this guy. And literally, he was on the chopping block. And he ended up being the guy that carried the company for a decade. So, as much as we talk about things like that, let's think about the other side of this coin. Think about how many potential Stone Cold Steve Austins are out of this business now. Because they decided, this guy can't get over. And they buried them. They never gave him an opportunity. They floundered, and they were cut. I mean, people talk about Austin and The Rock like being once-in-a-lifetime talents. And that whole Attitude Era, Vince McMahon, Steve Austin, and The Rock was like a three-person, it was like a trio that you feel like could never happen again. And maybe that's true. Or maybe a Rock and an Austin come along like every 3-4 years. And like 80% of the time, the company's so stupid that they turn them into whoever. And that's the end of them. We'll never know. We'll never know.
Yeah. Who they always like, Jim Cornette always likes to put Johnny Jeter because he was obviously trained by Jim Cornette and Danny Davis and whoever at OVW. About, you know, they sucked all the life out of him and just left him dry and dead by the age of what, 24 or whatever it was. I mean, he'd gone. Just forget it. He was done with it after being a Spirit Squad member and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, and there's always going to be hits and misses. But when you are saddled with something that is not you and you're not feeling it, it can make it very, very difficult to kind of go on and plow forward. And yeah, it should not just be you need to accomplish things in spite of what they give you. You know, occasionally it can be because of their help.
I mean, that whole Daniel Bryan thing, going back to Batista, that Daniel Bryan WrestleMania where he won the title. I mean, the plan for that show was Triple H versus CM Punk, and Randy Orton versus Batista for the title, with Batista as a babyface winning the championship. And they absolutely 100% were going to do nothing of any value with Daniel Bryan on that show. No matter what they claim nowadays, they were not going to do anything with that guy. And CM Punk quit, and Batista got booed out of the building, and the fans hated Roman Reigns, and Triple H had no opponent, and they hated the in the main event. They hated Batista, so like they had nothing that anybody wanted on that show, and they tried and they tried and they tried, and nobody was going for it. So finally it was like, fine, we'll do the Daniel Bryan thing. And they had him beat Triple H, and then he went into the three-way and he won the title, and they immediately put him in a feud with Kane, and they were just going to destroy him.
Man,
That's the story of this.
Yeah, get killed with pallets right after that. And I think right before that, I think what the plan was is he was going to be a Wyatt family member, like hanging out, at that point, and was, fourth banana, I guess, behind the vintner at that point. But then things obviously worked out the way that they did. Yeah, it's like the Becky Lynch thing last night, as no matter what they do, no matter how hard they try, no matter if they trot a legend who's fantastic out there like Edge to try to talk to Becky, to try to make her understand, and she throws it in his face, and everybody loves it as Charlotte comes out and gets booed. It's like, you can keep fighting this thing, or you can just roll with it, and you can do less damage to everyone involved, including Charlotte Flair, if you just kind of acquiesce and, hey, guess what? Give the fans what they want. Manipulate them once you give them what they want, because they obviously want what they want. So just let them have it, and then try to manipulate your story later on.
But as I was on Twitter, I noticed that the fans complaining about Vince dancing last night are the same fans who continue to watch and pay for WWE, of course. The ones who complained about the booking were the same ones bowing for him when he came out.
I was going to say, but the same ones that booed the Saudi deal were the same ones cheering when he said it's time to dance, right? No chance? Oh, the place went nuts. I can't believe it's all different people.
Spurs says, after the Mae Young Classic, how about you and Vinny review every show that has a Big Show turn?
Oh, I'm surprised Vinny didn't punch you in the face last night.
That'd be 35.
Salty.
I was salty. And you know what? I listened to that show in the car.
God.
Which is the worst listening environment you can have. And you know what I heard? Cats. But you know what, Mike? Let me tell you something. I'll tell you something right now, okay?
Yeah.
I give up. The next time those cats are fighting and crying outside my door, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to let them cry and cry and cry. And those of you that actually have decent hearing, for a full hour, you're going to hear those stupid cats. And you know what's going to happen the next day? You're going to be on the board going, those stupid cats. Why didn't you do something about those cats? Well,
can't hold it together now.
Apparently nobody can hear it, so I'm just going to let it go. I'm sorry I tried to have pristine audio here on this show. I apologize.
Why do you have cats fighting at your door? Why don't you put them downstairs?
Well, you think they can't climb cats?
What's the door?
You can't put them in.
You have no doors in the house.
Get out of here.
We don't want Paisley to have any restrictions.
Yeah, she's asleep. That's the other thing. They wake up the baby. But no, don't worry about it. I'll just let the cats cry. It's going to sound like I don't even know what it's going to sound like. It's going to sound like an alley in like an old 50s movie. There's going to be cats just screaming and fighting, copulating. Right, back in a moment with David Lagana, Wrestling Observer Live.